Hey guys, welcome back to UI Builder video series where we are creating our own new PandaTech portal in latest now experience. So till now what we have understood is that how we can create a data broker, how we can refresh the data broker without refreshing the screen and some of the base component. But from this point onwards, we gonna talk about some of the advanced components. So the very first component that we gonna talk about is EVAM. So EVAM is the full form is Entity View Action Mapper, and the use case is pretty simple. So if you see that till now, all the data brokers, all the components that we are having, those things are used to show only a same type of data. So if I want to show the incident list, I can only show the incident list. If I want to show the task list, then I will utilize the same structure of the task table. So in a way, if I want to have a composite or I'll say complex object where I want to show that complex object. So let's say in a complex object, I can have incident record as well as my catalog items and data from any other table. And I want to show that in either a list or a card layout. So for that, either I have to do it myself, I have to create a custom component. But in ServiceNow, what they have provided as a configuration method is EVAM. So basically, EVAM is the area where we can write and utilize our complex and composite object that we can display either as a card layout or either as a list layout. We first need to understand what are the four processes we need to take. So we will talk about those things later on in adapt that how event work, how EVAM has those things configured. But in this session, what we are going to see that is how we can configure EVAM for a very quick configuration for our PandaTech portal. So here's what we're gonna do. So you see that on this get item page on my PandaTech. So what we want is that if we have provided any kind of SysID, then it should show that catalog item. If we have not provided any kind of SysID, so it means if there is no SysID or SysID is -1, then we want to show all the catalog items. So how we need to do that? So we will utilize EVAM components. But before that, a simple configuration we need to do that we have to first select on get item. We have to click on our component visibility. And here you see that we have again different stuff, which is hide component. We have not used it previously, but in this one, what we will use it to hide or show the component. So instead of binding it with dynamic data, we're gonna write a script, and I am going to return if api.context.props.sysid. If there is nothing, then just return it. It will return me that true and false. I'll save it. So now what we need to do is we need to play with the EVAM to fetch that old data source. So how we can do that is basically this is the only component for which we have to go back from our UI builder to platform. So I will come here in my platform and click EVAM. So here first we need to give the EVAM definition. So let's quickly go ahead and create an EVAM definition. So what we will call it as catalog items list, but you can name it anything what you want. And there are some certain simple configuration is sort order, ascending and descending. So right now let's select it as ascending and save it. Once we are done with that, so we will see some of the related list here. So EVAM full form is entity. So entity view action mapper. So the very thing is when we talk about entity is nothing. It's kind of from where I want to get my data. So this data source is that. So I will click on create and link. I will call it as that any name. I'll again call it as catalog item list, and here I will select table catalog item. If I want to have any condition, I can do it. I'll say only show the catalog items which are true, sort by either created or updated. We will leave it by blank, create and update, and we will click on submit. So once we are done with our data source, so basically the next step is view config bundle. So this is basically used to map this data source to this view one. So I will click on this create and link. Again, I'll give it some name. I'll name it as catalog items list, and again submit it. So once it is done, so we have not done any kind of configuration inside this because that will come later. So as soon as I click on this one, this will present me a view config. So basically in this view config, what I need to do is I will map my data source to a particular view. So right now in our data source, we have only one table. Okay, but we can have multiple n number of data source, and I can connect that n number of data source to n number of views. And I can also provide the conditions. I can use any composite or complex condition. So right now for this one, we're just gonna stick with the simple one. So I'll give it as name as catalog item list, active true, order, let's say 100, table is catalog item. Now I can provide condition and rule. So basically rule will specify which user rule is supposed to utilize this EVAM view configuration, and then condition. So in condition, I'll say active is true. So because it's the base condition that we want to map. Okay. And now in the table fields, I can select what are the table fields I want. Name, short description, icon, and then I can see, let's say image, then let's go ahead inside the category. Inside this category, I want to have a description, and I want to have a title, and again I also want to have category just to show. And apart from category, okay, inside category as well, let's say something known as SC catalog. If we have, yes, let's bring this catalog and save it. And in this one custom field, I can provide any kind of custom fields if I want. And we have everything. Let's bring out if we have something other stuff. I don't see any other field required, but in future if we require, we can just get it. That's not an issue. So once we are done with this configuration, finding all the table fields that we want and all the condition, the next step that we need to took is we need to map these fields to this. So basically what we need to do is that click on create and link. We can create any kind of action label. Some of them are out of box, some of them are not. So let's take an example. If you want to create a action label on a phone number field, that we want a phone icon and it should start calling someone on Skype or Teams or any other connecting source, we can do that. But right now here what we want to have is navigation. So I'll call the action name as navigation, and we're gonna utilize that, so we need to just remember it. And here I can implement this action as a server side or UXF client action. UXF is nothing, it's a now experience. So I'll specify the client action. So out of box, I have the client action navigation. I'll take that one and I'll click on submit. So that's it, folks. So till now we have done one level of configuration. We have defined our data source and also we have defined its view mapping. Once we are so in the next one, what we're gonna see is that how we can create our view template. So till next time, thank you.